Well, let's roll then.
And away we go.
Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well, we tried this last night, and yet again, my rookie, I don't even know what I'm saying, how green I am at podcasts came out once again. I forgot that the SD card I put in the auto recorder was already full. It started recording. I don't know when it cut off. We got like
half hour into it.
Yeah,
probably.
It wasn't quite an hour.
Yeah.
And then I looked down just to see where we're at for time, and it was like card full, and I'm like, nice. We've done like 5 podcasts in the last 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Having to keep like scrapping them.
Yeah, that's all right.
So now it is Sunday night, and we're at your house once again.
Yes.
It's been a reoccurring thing, basically because we've been riding BMX either in your area or points south.
Right.
Every weekend for the last month, or even more at this point. And I live an hour north of you. You're down here in Londonderry.
Yep.
Londonderry has a really good skate park that I was telling some kids today, I've been riding that skate park for 17 years now.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
That's crazy. When I think of it that way. Because when I get on my bike now, I do realize it's been a long time since I was riding full time, but it's still just, I'm on my bike. It just feels like I'm on my bike.
Yeah.
And then when I look at it, as far as years are concerned and how long it's been, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been riding. So as an example, when we were at the Pelham, New Hampshire skate park back a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
and some younger kids showed up. I mean, I don't know, teenagers, and they showed up on bikes. And I did like a 180 bar spin over like a wedge to wedge ramp or something. I can't remember what I did. I did a 180 bar spin or something. And the kid came riding over to me after that. And he's like, dude, how do you bar spin so fast? And I thought about it for a second because I was trying to think back to like when I first learned bar spins.
Right.
And it was 2002. And I was like, dude, I've been doing bar spins for 18 years. 18 years. I said, son, how old are you? And he goes, I'm 16. And in the midst of my mind exploding, I said, I've been doing bar spins longer than you've been a human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I do bar spins so fast.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
I know I'm not old. 35 isn't that old.
It's not.
But, oh my gosh, a kid that has a license and drives a car legally
who is trying to do bar spins
in America,
yeah.
who
At
can
the park.
Who can create thoughts and has intuition and I've been doing bar spins, not just been alive. I've been doing bar spins longer than he's been alive. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like a pinnacle moment for me when I realized like, wow, I've been doing this a long time,
but still out there charging.
It's fun, man.
Still out there throwing the bars.
I'm still capable of doing bar spins, even though I get bit by them a little bit more often now.
Yeah.
Yeah, than I used to. But that's a mixture of just having not done it in so long and kind of rediscovering getting my body back into the swing of doing those movements and those tricks again. And the fact that I am older now, I am in better shape now as my ankle cracks. As we're talking about that.
I wonder if they'll hear that on the audio.
I don't know. Here we go. Listen to this, guys. Yeah, you probably heard that.
I heard that in the headphones.
Everything, some of you guys listening know. Everything starts to creak and rattle and hurt.
Yeah.
The older you get, especially if you've spent a good part of your life,
abusing your body.
Yeah, extreme sports of some sort.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sore. I mean, you've got hardwood floors here in this apartment, and I was up a little before you, and yeah, I was down here laying on the hardwood floor stretching for a good half hour, just because I knew we were riding today, and I stretch every morning and night anyway. Even stretching at night, like I feel more limber when I crawl into bed.
Yeah.
Normally when I crawl into bed, you get that because you work in a garage, so you're on your feet on the concrete floor all day long.
Right.
When you finally crawl into bed, there's that quick moment of like pain, quickly followed by like relief. You're like, because you're like, oh, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
you get that feeling. I don't get that so much when I stretch before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So that helps. And it helps significantly. And I know it's played a significant role because I've been stretching religiously every morning and night, every day for the last couple of years now.
Right.
2 years at least now. And I know for sure that it's played a vital role in me riding again, more actively riding.
Oh, absolutely.
Because for the last 8 to 10 years, it's been like a weekend thing, maybe once a month, honestly. And I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast, but I've said it to you that like I almost got nervous to ride because as I got older and didn't ride as much anymore, every time I did ride, like I'd pull a muscle or something.
Yeah.
Not by falling. I'd twist wrong or something, and a muscle in like, my upper back, like lower shoulder blade area in my back would like pull, and it would take me a solid week to get over it. It hurt like real bad. And I don't know anything about, I don't know if it's a knot or a muscle or what, but it kind of discouraged me or made me nervous to ride because I was always afraid I was going to just pull a muscle. And I kind of chalked it up to just being older now. I'm like, oh,
Right.
is this what
Yeah,
just
yeah.
happens? So as like once you got a bike last summer and we started riding more, it was still kind of happening, but we rode more and more and more. And now I was riding like every other weekend. And now this past spring, we've been riding literally every weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't get those muscle pulls anymore.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
When
Yeah,
I first got on the bike, I worked muscles I hadn't worked in a long time.
exactly.
And now it just feels better.
Yeah.
It feels good to ride every weekend.
I was trying to tell that to Dave tonight because we rode with our good friend Dave Del Toro tonight. And I've known Dave since he was honestly 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, he's younger than you by a couple
He's
years.
28, I think.
28 or 29.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when I was, so he's like 6-7 years younger than me.
Mhm.
So when I was 20, he was 13 or 14. So, and I met him through BMX. He was a rider. And then he got out of it like completely. Hasn't spent like any time on his bike.
Yeah.
And you worked with him at Ace Performance.
Yep. Yep. He was the other tech at Ace.
Yeah. And he's gotten into cars real heavily. Super knowledgeable.
He's got some serious builds.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so even before you bought your bike, I'd always been like, hey, we should ride sometime.
Yeah.
And he'd say, yeah, he would. And then he never would. And so our buddy Pete as well, who rides, I'd say more, like way more than Dave.
Yeah.
We've ridden with him.
Especially in the past couple of years.
We rode with him a bunch in Boston last year.
Yeah.
And so we were all just going to hang out today. And Vicky, Dave's girlfriend, texted me and said, bring your bikes down, because they live in Mass.
Yeah.
Bring your bikes down. Dave and Pete really want to ride
Yeah.
this evening. And I was like,
She says that, bring your bicycles.
yeah, bring your bicycles. I was like, and then shortly after that text came through, Pete called you and I took the phone from you and I told Pete, I was like, don't pull on my heartstrings here. If Dave's going to get on his bike tonight, like we're going to ride. You're not going to tease me with this. I've been trying to get him back on his bike forever. So anyway, we rode tonight and Dave was like, dude, I am so, and he pulled some stuff out of the closet, man. He was
still got
tricks,
killing it,
man. But he was like, man, this is not good. I'm so sore. And I used that example. I said, dude, I've passed that threshold. I thought there was no threshold there. I thought it was just being old and being out of the swing of things. And it was just, I was always going to hurt some way or another when I rode my bike. But having ridden every single weekend this spring, I've like passed beyond that. And now I like, aside from falling and getting banged up, I feel good.
Yeah.
So that's been a plus for sure.
Definitely.
So we did ride this weekend.
We did quite a bit.
Yeah, came down Friday. We rode the Londonderry Skate Park Friday night, and we got up at 5:30 in the morning, just about 5 in the morning, yesterday, and I had never been to the old or new Hyde Park, Massachusetts skate park, and the original one wasn't really much to write home about. I had seen photos and a lot of friends from Boston. Hyde Park's just south of Boston, and I'd never ridden the old one, but I'd heard in the last few years that they built a new one and that it was really good.
Yeah.
It was like professional, full-blown like skate plaza, West Coast style concrete skate
absolutely.
plaza. And I'd seen photos of it and I was like, man, that place looks amazing. So we decided to go down and got an early rundown because it was Saturday. I don't know how packed that place gets on a normal Saturday or a Saturday with, what's going on with what's left of the pandemic or whatever.
Right.
So we went down early, wanted to get there so we'd be the only ones there.
And to beat the heat.
That too.
Yeah.
And skate plazas are tough though, because sometimes flow is like just back and forth, and if you get a lot of kids in there, it's like real tough to ride places like that.
Yeah.
So I'd put the word out on Instagram that we were going to be down there. So we got a bunch of kids that came out, and actually Friday night we met Matt Mazzoni, I think his last name is.
Yes.
He's originally from New Jersey, lives in the Boston area now, and he rides BMX. So we saw him at Londonderry, and we were telling him that we were thinking about going to Hyde. He's like, dude, I'll totally meet you guys there in the morning.
Yep.
So he showed up. And again, put a word out on Instagram. Our friend Cody Ivers came out, and Matt showed up. Our friend JJ showed up with he's got a sweet first gen SVT Focus on airlift.
Yeah.
3P on HRE 504s.
Heck yes.
It's a rad car.
Yeah.
So he came out. It had been a solid year since he had been on his bike, he said. And he's my age. He's 34. He's a year younger than me. And JJ is actually the one who came through when I put the word out that I was looking for some 205/40 17-inch tires to test fit on my Desmonds on the Century, because I wasn't sure what size tires I was going to need ultimately for that car.
Right.
But I assumed that was the tire size I needed. So I didn't really want to spend money on all 4 brand new ones if they were going to ultimately be the wrong size. And so he answered the call on Instagram and said, hey, I've got like 4 brand new 205/40 17s that I'm literally going to do nothing with. Just come and get them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yet again, another shout out to JJ for that. And we talked about BMX when I ran down there to pick those tires up. I was like, man, this upcoming summer, we should definitely ride. So it was really cool that he came out.
Yeah.
'Cause he was killing it.
Yeah.
He was killing it. And
yep.
and then 2 other riders from like the Gardner, Mass area who I didn't know showed up just randomly. And so it was a really good session.
It really was.
We got some clips. I don't know if by the time this goes live or by the time this initially goes live, I'll have those clips up, but I've rewatched a few. I mean, you were killing it. You did that. You did technically your first bunny hop the feeble grind on a ledge.
Yep.
You did that manual on that ledge. That was really cool. So there was like this ledge that started low up on like this platform, and there was like this long 2 set that it went out across, and so on the end it was taller,
right,
like tall enough to where if you were to hop to manual this wedge going out to the deep end, if your front tire dropped off the end at the very end, it was tall enough to where you'd get ejected over the bars.
Exactly.
You know, like you couldn't ride out of it.
Like stem height at the deep end, as
a couple
you call
feet tall.
Yeah.
And I saw you try it the first time. And you're still learning hop to manuals.
Yeah, I am.
You know, you're still learning. You're in that phase right now.
Yeah.
And when you hop to manual, the first thing I thought about in my head, didn't tell you this because I don't want to psych you out. I was like, oh man, that's going to be legit if he tries that, because if he drops his front wheel, which is more than likely because you're learning this trick, you're going to get murked.
Yeah.
And we all got to get murked.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many more times I saw you try it, but I like looked over and you did it flawlessly. Hop out off the end and everything. I was like, heck yes.
Yeah, it felt good.
Because that one, you didn't have to get served to like pull that one.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. It was cool that you were, kind of pushing your limits.
Yeah, definitely.
Your current limits. And yeah, I relearned a few tricks. Switch Smith to 180s.
That's right.
I mean, that sounds like an easy trick, but I hadn't done it in years. And so it was cool to get that back. It's funny because as I was telling Matt when we were at Londonderry Friday night, I've got like a checklist of tricks that either used to be tricks that I did all the time or tricks that were always kind of tough, but I know I could probably do now.
And like you mentioned, your feel good tricks, like
exactly, tricks that I know I could still pull today. But like I have a little bit of like the mental barrier has gone back up because it's been so long since I've done it.
Yeah.
So I've got a checklist of things I want to pull this summer. Simple things too, simple things for like what I used to do. And one of them was just a toothpick stall on the vert quarter, like a 9-foot vert quarter pipe at Londonderry Skate Park.
Yeah.
And so Friday night when we were riding with Matt, it's like a new kid we're riding with. He can do bar spins, and he was like, we were kind of feeding off each other in the session. And I was like, tonight's the night. I just went over there and did it. And then once I did the first one, I did like 2 more, like 3 in a row. And I was like, finally.
Yeah.
And we went back this morning and I did a few more there too. And I'm like, all right, got that trick back.
Yeah.
And then the Smith 180s. And what else? Oh, on the A-frame box, there's an A-frame rail that goes up and down the A-frame, double peg up the rail to hop over rail into the bank. Yeah. I mean, and that's a pretty stock trick on rails, but again, been a long time since I've done one.
Yeah. another trick that you and Matt were feeding off each other on.
That's right. Because Matt was like, I hadn't done one in a long time either. And I was like, well, if you want to,
Yeah.
you know,
Trick for trick.
yeah, if you want to put our powers or, you know, with our powers combined, I think we can get this done. And so it's funny because I did it first try. He tried it like once maybe, and I was like, I'll try it with you if you don't mind. He goes, yeah, absolutely. So I went in and just charged it and did it first try, and then literally next try Matt did it. I was like, that's the way.
Yeah.
That's what I love about BMX or about any extreme sport. I mean, skateboarding's the same way. Anything that like when you're nervous to do something and you're trying it with a friend, and even if they pull it first, you see it executed. You're like, oh, I totally got this.
Yeah.
And then you do it like next try. It's like, it's such a cool feeling victory.
Yeah.
Makes you forget about like the stresses of everyday life.
Absolutely.
Because you're just focusing on that one.
Amps you up.
You're focusing on that task at hand,
Yeah.
I guess. And then Cody had kind of been revisiting some tricks. It's the first time I ever rode with Cody.
Yep.
We've been friends on Facebook for a while, and I don't think we've ever ridden before together. And yeah, I wanted to do a downside tail whip over the wedge chip there because the wedge chip there is perfect. And he was like, yeah, man, like I was kind of thinking about that when I got here too. And I don't know, you know, and I was like, well, we'll just do it in a run.
He was saying he was more comfortable doing a topside whip rather than the downside whip.
Because he kicks it different. He kicks it the other way than I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we did a line. You filmed us, you know, him doing a topside tail up, and I came in behind him and did a downside tail up. So that was really cool. And yeah, just an overall awesome day. And then after that, we came back here, and then ultimately went back to Londonderry.
Yeah, for an evening
last
session.
night too, for an evening session once it cooled down.
Yeah.
And then so today started the day with a Dunkin's coffee, obviously, as always, as you do.
Yep.
And then rode Londonderry for a little bit, and then went down to North Andover, Mass, and met up with Dave and Pete. And yeah, ended up at the Salisbury, Massachusetts skate park, which is just like a prefab Situate park, but it's got what I like about those parks is that although they're all the same ramps across the board, they're set up in different configurations in all these different towns.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to like utilize how they like haphazardly set these things up differently. Just kind of utilize them as different lines or obstacles. So that was pretty fun. We got to make it happen more often.
Yeah, definitely. It was good hanging out with those guys today too.
Yeah. Always a good time hanging out with those guys because we have BMX and cars in common. Because Pete's into cars too.
Oh, yeah.
Pete's got a really cool 944 turbo Porsche.
Yeah, he restores cars for a living too.
Yeah, more bodywork stuff, right?
Yep, more bodywork.
Yeah,
stuff,
Dave's more on the mechanical end.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool to ride with those guys and just do car stuff too. Hopefully we can do more of both those things this summer.
Yeah, for sure. That
leads me into news of like a new idea I have.
Yes.
So I'm jazzed. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize I'm jazzed back up on BMX. And if you follow me on Instagram, there's been a lot more BMX content, especially my stories. I've been posting a lot on my wall too, but I'm always like, I'm back riding a lot now.
Yeah.
And so what I've wanted to do is I've been trying to move the Governor's Club more into its initials, just TGC.
Yep.
And it's been around long enough to where I think I can do that now. I can just have it branded as TGC.
Yeah.
People, like most people know like what it is. So what I want to do is I am going to start a BMX division, TGC BMX.
Heck yeah.
Like just a club, just a BMX club.
Yeah.
There's no requirements. Ride a bike. We're going to session. We're going to post videos.
Yep.
I'm going to make merchandise. We're going to make TGC BMX shirts. And I'm going to put my thinking cap on and try to make some like really cool, like hard goods that I can make myself with Night Laser.
Right.
I mean, key rings and mirror hangers and stuff too, but I'm going to start a whole different division of TGC, and make TGC BMX.
Yeah. I'm excited about this.
I've been thinking about more of it this weekend. Well, that's what I was telling you. I said, it's not going to be like for like pro level riders.
Yeah.
It's going to be just people who, I'd say more or less, if it caters to one type of person, it's going to be someone who is both into cars and BMX.
Yeah.
Because TGC is already kind of encompassing everything automotive, because that's what it is.
Yep.
But half the people I know that are into BMX are into cars and vice versa. So
yeah,
here we go. TGC BMX 2020.
Let's do it.
I'm excited. We're going to get some skate park. This is the thing. Like, And I want to make sure I cover this too. Basically, the news. If you guys listened to the last episode, I was talking about hitting America, driving out to California, and basically hitting every state over a 3-week road trip on a BMX and podcast road trip. But that was right before everything kind of went down, and there's all the, I'd say nationwide, but even worldwide protests going on right now and stuff. And some cities, as you know, have been hit with a little bit more violence, or a lot more violence than other places. So I've decided to postpone that trip. I still want to do a BMX cross country trip. I was so excited to hit some of these like skate parks across America that I have hit before, and also some places that I haven't ridden before, like Dallas. Like I've never ridden Dallas. I've been through Dallas, but I've never been there on a BMX trip. I wanted to meet up with Gage Deutscher, who's a phenomenal skateboarder who is also into cars. I've been through Denver a bunch, but never ridden Denver either. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm gonna plan on, if it's not by the end of 2020 for next year, maybe do a trip like that, and base it around TGC BMX.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So instead of the TGC America Tour 2019, like we did last year, it'll be a TGC BMX Tour.
Yep,
that'd be really cool.
Definitely.
So postponing that trip for now. I know most of you guys that I've talked to about meeting up with you guys or staying with you on this trip. I've already called you and kind of told you that I'm going to put that trip on hold for the time being, since there's a lot of other things at play and at hand right now. So TGC BMX, things coming for that. And I mean, other than that, we're just going weekend by weekend, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Point.
Car stuff, still got a lot to do on the Century. Now that I'm not going on that trip, basically the only thing I've got my sights on now is Ocean City at the end of September. Yeah. Which feels like more than enough time because we were just at the beginning of June. Yeah.
I wish we were closer already. But
I do too, but there's so much work I still need to do on the OBS, on the Ford, on the dually. I still need to do, I need to sort out the exhaust leak, the turbo. Something's up in the front end. It's like making some like rumbling, howling. It's got a loose feeling in the front end. So I say hoping it's just like wheel bearings or something. So I got to get that thing up in the air and just figure out what's going on in the front end, get the turbo sorted out. The transmission, since I bought it, was whining pretty loud. So you and I obviously hauled my enclosed car trailer with the Corvair in it 1,200 miles home from Chattanooga, right, with that thing whining the whole way. Man. And it still whines, to this day. And a guy that owns a garage in my town was a Ford tech in the 90s when those trucks were new. And he's like a walking encyclopedia. And he was like, he's got one too. He's got an OBS diesel manual, just like mine, but a single wheel truck with like 280,000 miles on it. And he bought it brand new. Yeah. And he's like, he goes, I haven't had any issues with my transmission, but he said, those ZF5 transmissions, don't even bother taking it apart and trying to fix it. He said, just buy another ZF5. So if you're listening to this, guys, I am about to start the search for a ZF5 5-speed Ford 7.3 transmission, or the transmission that bolts up to the 7.3. So we'll see. I am thinking that worst case scenario, I'm just going to haul it to Ocean City anyway. Yeah. And just keep my fingers crossed that she makes it. But, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. If I find a transmission, I'll just put the transmission in it. I'm not going to bother, with taking the thing apart.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that it would, come apart at any point. It may just make more noise and just start to feel worse, shifting and stuff like that.
I would think.
Before it actually just completely fails.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
the manuals don't really.
That's it. Yeah. And essentially that's why I bought that truck, because it was a manual and I knew that it was going to be more bulletproof than the automatic. And right. For 170,000 miles on, a 7.3 with a 5-speed, it really shouldn't be making those noises.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's got fluid in it. We'll just see how it goes. I got to sort the turbo out so we're not hauling that trailer with the Century in it at 40 miles an hour. Get the turbo sorted out, get the front end sorted out, and get the sleeper cap on it.
That's right.
Painted. Yeah. We've test fit the sleeper cap a couple times, and it looks so rad on there.
It really does.
And to be honest, man, I'm not as hell-bent on lowering that truck. Yeah. It'll look awesome lower. Don't get me wrong. Right. Right now, because of the pandemic and what's going on and work being a little bit slower than usual, I have tightened up any spending on any car projects. So any money that goes into that dually is going to be essential maintenance and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting the dream beams up front, getting the front lowered down, flipping the axle in the rear, flipping the leaves around, and doing some helper bags in the rear. I wouldn't mind doing that. The truck would obviously look awesome with no wheel gap and like lowered down.
Right.
But I do love the look of like when I'm driving down the road and I see a bone stock OBS, like a rust free, like mine, like a Southern cream puff, like showroom condition. Mine's not quite showroom, but you know what I mean. Like a bone stock time capsule OBS 4 just driving down the road. I am so stoked.
Yeah.
Like, I love seeing that stuff. So the more I have my truck in my yard, the more I appreciate it just being stock.
Right.
It's on Alcoas, which I think look way better than the steel wheels with the hubcaps and beauty rings.
Yeah, you polished them up pretty good too.
I mean,
not like a mirror polish, but
exactly.
You were out there with the
I went
wheel on there.
Yeah, I went from the wheel cleaner, which they needed desperately. I mean, those wheels were just garbage. They were basically like gray.
Yeah.
And put some serious wheel cleaner to them, and then just went right to the polishing compound.
Right.
And there is some pitting in the rears. So if you like started, but the thing is, I was going to say, if you started from like 600 grit and worked your way up, it would obviously mirror shine. But as you know, those wheels are like a rough machine. It's like a rough pass. It's not a polish pass on the turn. They turn them and it's got the machine grooves in it. So there's only so much you can do to get those mirror shine. And they show reflection. So
they do, yeah.
They look 100% better than they were. But it's got that super 90s look. It's got the running boards that I like. They're not the color matched running boards, like the molded into the body type running boards.
Yeah.
Just the straight chrome ones with the running lights down below. It's got the Lund visor.
Yep.
It's got the Alcoas and 16-inch Alcoas. And it's got it's going to have the sleeper cap on it.
Yep.
And I'm going to go to a single exhaust out of the turbo. When we rebuild the exhaust, I'm not going to go dual to one to the turbo, to the downpipe, to dual again on the way out.
Exactly.
I'm just going to run a single exhaust on the way out and just build a full system. But I'm super psyched on that truck. I'm psyched to get to Ocean City, man, to cruise in the Century, do the podcast of the Century.
Yes, definitely.
Can't forget about that.
Yeah.
Because when that car sits in my carport and it's out of sight, out of mind, as you know, I'll see something on like Instagram or a car that's for sale, and I was like, and I immediately set my focus on that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I could sell the Century and buy that. And then I pull the Century out of the carport and I'm like, I can't believe I own one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
So I go through a roller coaster of emotions with that car for sure. But I haven't, to be honest, I haven't had the chance to enjoy that car now that it's on air suspension yet.
Right.
Because there's still so many things I need to tighten up and button up on that car. And now that the window regulator broke again on the driver's window, I've got the door card off and was able to find what broke.
Yeah.
The base of the gear of like the regulator or the motor, from the motor to the like actual gear basically. And so it broke on its down position. So I took the whole door card off and realized the kid I bought the car off of just kind of bastardized that whole job because he like fixed the regulator before we went out there to get the car.
Yeah.
Everything's stripped or it's missing hardware and it's all fixable stuff. I'm going to fix all that stuff so it's legit, but it's like such a bummer when you get in and you realize that the person just like barely did the bare minimum to get the job done.
Yeah.
So I got to get into that. It's just one thing after another. I'd like the thing to just be done and I can drive it. I do want to get 18s under that car though before Ocean City. The Desmonds are 17s. Looks great. Was able to get the suspension built. I was able to get the suspension built to where it lays out on the 17s. So the engine cradle lays out on the ground, which was a victory, obviously. But moving up to 18s, I'm not sure if it'll still lay engine cradle on the ground or not.
Yeah.
I really want it to, but I don't want to cut up the wheel wells in that car in order to do that. I want to keep that car as close to stock body as possible in case when I do sell it, somebody wants it for its OEM presence and not its resto mod presence, I guess.
Makes sense.
But either way, super excited to get that car down to Ocean City and see everybody. You're still planning on having the 190 done by then?
Yep, definitely. And if not the 190, possibly the kit car.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be wild cruising down the strip.
I know. I keep going back and forth. I'll go outside the shop that I work for and I'll see one of them and be like, oh yeah, I want that at the strip.
They're both red too.
I know.
Well,
the kit car is not going to stay red.
That's good.
Yeah,
good.
It needs some body work, so I'm going to paint it.
What do you think? What color?
Black. Maybe black. I was honestly thinking about doing a silver base coat with a pearl on top. So like a silver pearl.
Yeah. Because I almost thought white would be a cool color for that. But yeah, that silver would be pretty cool.
A couple of weeks ago, we painted the top half of a split window bus, that Volkswagen off-white. It's almost like a grayish white.
Yep.
And seeing that fresh out of the gun, I was like, ooh, maybe that on the kit car would look good.
Yeah, I think that would look good too, because that's got like 80s kit car.
Yeah.
Like, all those 80s kit cars are like white, it seems like.
Yeah.
Or red, which that one is. But yeah, I think white would be a cool color for that. Or that silver. That'd be cool.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
we were talking about that car yesterday. What's today? Sunday? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
You're talking about possibly doing like a static build on that. That'd be pretty cool.
I want to. Yeah.
Just
flatten the pan out completely.
Just morbidly low. Yeah. Static.
Because, I mean, it's sweet. Like, it's on a Volkswagen Beetle chassis and it's a kit car and it's already like, there's no roof. It's just got the windscreen.
So basically it looks like a Bradley GT with no roof.
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of that kit car?
I always forget. It's like Volcaro. Volcaro or something.
I know you said it this morning.
Yeah, I have to look it up. I forget until I look it up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
And it didn't make.
It was like 50 of them or something.
Really?
Yeah, something crazy.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
They took the windshield out of a Ghia and just like stuck it on this fiberglass body.
Yeah. Huh.
So it's already super low to the ground. The back's cut out, so you just see the engine sitting back there.
Which means you have to put a stinger pipe on it.
That's the plan.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's got this weird like dual cutout thing exhaust, and I'm like, nah, that's kind of gotta go. And it's gonna be a stinger.
Yeah, that'd look awesome.
So yeah, I was thinking maybe static, and just seeing that car on the ground would look just crazy.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely. Especially with no roof.
Yeah,
look even lower on the ground.
Exactly. You could pull up next to someone and they'd hear you, but like not see you.
Which could be good or bad.
Yeah, that's true.
Merging lanes.
Yeah. Totally fine.
It'd be cool to find, because I've always secretly liked those Bradley GTs, because they have like a going door and like it'd be cool to find a Bradley GT on a Beetle Pan and slam that and cruise around with the convertible version.
Absolutely.
They look so similar.
Yeah.
They've got those real tall like Ferrari Dino or like C3 Corvette front fenders to the headlights,
like, Yeah, like Stingray.
Yeah.
Yeah, arches.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool looking car.
Yeah.
And I've always been a coupe guy, so Bradley GT would be kind of cool to see just hammered on the ground.
This one doesn't even have doors that open.
That's right. You just like hop in it.
Yeah, you just hop in.
Yeah. I showed you the unbelievable van kit car that Robert from Luf Technic bought,
I was thinking about that, yeah.
You know they bagged it? I showed you photos of it, right?
Oh, yeah. It's insane.
I'm not allowed to post photos of that thing on the internet yet, but when that thing comes... Dude, I told Robert, our friend Nick... did all the work. It's at Nick's house, and Nick bagged it like over the winter. And Robert sent me photos of it on his trailer when he first bought it. And even then I was like,
I remember him sending you a photo of the van and a photo of like a brochure.
A brochure of it when it was brand new in the 80s.
Yeah. Super cool.
And even when he sent me a photo of it on the trailer when he first went and recovered it, he was like, another bad decision in the stable. And I was like, what do you got to have for it?
Yeah.
Like, I have to have that.
I remember you saying that.
It's a van. It's a kit car fiberglass van on a Beetle Pan with gull wing doors.
Yeah.
Now,
it's insane.
For those listening, it's basically, if you've seen Total Recall, the original one, the only one that matters, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's this like fantastical futuristic 1980s movie, but it takes place in the future that they expected to see in the 1980s. Or in the 1980s, it's what the future looked like to them.
Yeah.
And it was these like god-awful looking like set-built cars, and this like kit van on a Beetle Pan literally looks like it came out of Driving the Streets in Total Recall.
Yeah.
Gull-wing doors, craziest looking thing ever, and they bagged it. It's laying on the ground. He said it lays body. The photo he sent me, it's aired down on like 2x4s just so the fiberglass doesn't get bent out. And he goes, yeah, it lays body. And that's when I said, again, like, what's the number?
Price tag.
I told Robert, I said, you know as well as I do that I need to own that thing.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen, and he has, anyone who's seen the cars that I like and that I've owned, they know that van, like I have to own that van. I don't even care that someone already bagged it.
Yeah.
I'd paint it and make it my own. But he's like, we're in too deep at this point. And I know, we all know what that means.
Of course.
It means the price is going to be just ridiculous.
Of course.
And he doesn't really want to sell. He wants to do cool stuff with it. But
again, that's another one of those 1 of 50 one-off kit
low
cars,
number. I can't remember the name of that company either.
Yeah.
I Googled it once. He told me what it was and sent me that brochure photo. And I was able to see more photos of those things. And they're so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy. But yeah, so I guess it depends on what you, I don't know, get the most done on before September.
Yeah.
If we do end up going on to Chattanooga from Ocean City, you'll probably want to be trailering the kit car.
Yeah.
Because I know if you brought the 190, you were kind of contemplating just...
Yeah, probably we can just drive it.
We can fit spares and extra tools.
That's right.
Or whatever in my trailer or truck. And you could just drive the 190. That would save you money on fuel and like tolls and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm kind of just playing it by ear for now. Just seeing what I get to.
I mean, we've got like most of June, July, August, and then most of September. So we got like just about 4 months to go.
A lot changes in 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, you're telling me. I mean, as far as I know, I'm still going with the Century.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I do want to keep that car. But work's been a little slow, and I get car ADD. We were talking about Simon's Ford Cortina in England that could be for sale if I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted a Cortina, a UK market Ford Cortina. And this one is cream puff of the cream puffs. I showed you photos of
clean.
it.
Yeah,
it's got like 40,000 miles on it, and it is and Dean, our buddy, Dean just detailed it.
Yep.
And sent me photos of it. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, could that be bought? And he goes, oh yeah, it could be bought. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, and then he made the mistake of telling you what he was into it for.
Yes. So I don't, and Dean's like, dude, the Century's better. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted a Cortina, and that is a super clean one. And I get bored easily. So when I think of that, I'm like, oh, I could sell a Century. And then again, I pull it out of the carport and think about cruising the strip in Ocean City with it and doing the podcast inside it. And I'm like, man, I got to keep that thing. So yeah, 4 months, a lot can happen in 4 months. I'll more than likely still have the Century because I've always envisioned, even before I bought that car, I envisioned cruising the Ocean City Strip in a Century.
Yeah, that needs to happen before anything. I don't think I'd let you sell it before that.
Buy it off me and make sure it stays around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I still want to do the TGC procession flags on it. I want the TV aerials on it. There's a lot of aesthetic stuff I want to do on that car. And I kind of have an idea what I want to do for 18-inch wheels on it too. It's just a matter of justifying spending the money and executing it all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you sell the Desmonds, that'd go right into the next wheel.
Yeah, that's what the justification is going to be. I'm just going to try to find somebody who wants the Desmonds, move that money into the 18s, and go from there. Get the truck and trailer sorted out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my trailer is a 24-foot enclosed trailer. Someone knocking on your door?
No.
Oh.
It's on the wall. It's on the wall.
The joys of having a neighbor next door. Yeah, we both, for those listening, we both took our headphones off and we're like, what's happening?
There's some knocking.
There's some knocking.
Yeah.
Sounded like someone was at the front door. Yeah, what were we talking about? Oh, the trailer. Yeah, so my 24-foot trailer. I only bought the 24-foot trailer because the Century's 20 feet long.
Exactly.
I spec'd out an 18, then I spec'd out a 20 to have enough room for the Corvair. Then I bought a 20-foot long car.
Yeah.
So I bought the 24-foot trailer. And my local FedEx driver who lives just over the border in Vermont.
That's right.
Is like a car guy. And he dropped off some tires for my Mark V, my daily, just last week. And we got chit-chat. And then in the next 2 years, like 2021, I think, end of 2021, going into 22, he wants to move to Idaho. And he's waiting for his daughter to graduate high school. And he's like, listen, I bought a 30-foot enclosed tandem axle 6-log tandem axle trailer. So those are like the 5,000 or 6,000 pound
the heavy
axles.
duty one. Yep.
Mine are tandem 3,500 pound 5-log axles. And he's like, I really don't need a trailer this big. And it's basically brand new. He's like, I really don't need a trailer 30 feet. And I said, you need something more of that size? And I pointed to my trailer. He goes, yeah, actually.
Yeah.
And I was like, he goes, listen, I'd trade you. Like, we could figure something out. And I was like, maybe. And now I'm thinking, well, duh. Why wouldn't I not want a 30-foot trailer?
Yeah.
To be honest, I could fit the 700 and the Corvair in a 30-foot trailer.
Heck yes.
Easily. And with 6-lug tandem axle, it more than enough to handle the weight.
Oh, yeah. Those combined maybe weigh 4,000 pounds. Not even, probably.
No, not even.
Yeah.
No, not even. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, not even.
Yeah.
The 700. So here's the thing, and I want to do this. And actually, this is putting the word out through the podcast network as well. I'm gonna revisit it on Instagram, but I've been talking about. I want to know what the 700 weighs, and I want to know what the Century weighs. There's numbers on both those cars, online in different places.
Yeah.
But they only built just over 400 of the long wheelbase Centuries. So I've seen different numbers as to what the long wheelbase ones weigh.
Yep.
Because they're significantly heavier than the short wheelbase Centuries.
I'm sure.
So I want to do like a TGC product giveaway contest, guess the weight type thing. Person closest to the weight without going over wins type deal.
Yeah.
With both the 700 and the Century. So I'm not even gonna. Well, people will Google it if they want, but the 700s originally were like 1,250 or 1,300 pounds, something like that, super light. So now I'm curious. It has no interior anymore. It had no, all the floors are rotted out of it.
Right.
But it's sitting on a Beetle pan that's been shortened by over a foot.
Yeah.
And it's got a 4-cylinder in it and not a 2-cylinder. So that component's heavier.
Yeah.
But there's no interior.
It's a mystery. Is it lighter? Is it heavier?
Or is it stayed around the same?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, and I know a lot of other people are curious because I get asked that all the time. What does that thing weigh? I'm like, can't be more than 1,300 pounds, but I don't know. Yeah. So we're going to guess. I've already given people a baseline to kind of base their guesses around, I guess, at this point. But the Century, don't Google it. We're gonna go into a guess the weight of the Century and just throw out some numbers. I know what some places online say it weighs, but I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
It could be grossly underestimated or overestimated. She's a big girl.
It's
a heavy car. That trailer makes all sorts of weird noises when I pull the car into that thing.
It is surprising that there is still space in that trailer with the car in there.
More than enough space.
Yeah.
Because the thing about that 24-footer is it's a V-nose trailer and it's 24 feet to the box. Mm-hmm. So that V's all extra space up front.
Right, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
All the podcast gear, all the camera gear.
Tools, spares, truck
spares.
And trailer spares. I've got so much stuff up front.
Yeah.
Even when I had the Century in there, just sitting in there. I haven't hauled the Century yet in that trailer, but I've pulled it in a couple times to leave it in there for some rainy weather. When I had it in and out of my dad's shop, it was easier to just pull it into the trailer than drive it up to my house and put it in the carport. So, yeah. So now that winter's over, I should get to that. I'll probably start doing that in the next couple of weeks. Maybe trying to get something lined up at my local scales.
Yeah.
I'm eager to find out what those things weigh.
Yeah. We still got to do some rolling video of both of them with the GoPro at some point too.
Yeah. Yeah. Once you start coming back up to my neck of the woods, it'd be easier.
Yeah.
Because every time I come down here, just bring the daily.
I know it. Yeah.
It's like an hour, a little over an hour. It'd definitely be over an hour if I brought the Corvair, the 700 down here.
Right.
The only time I've ever done anything like that is if we're off from here to point south for some sort of car event or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, to just come down and ride BMX and record a podcast, it's easier to just drive the Jetta.
Of course.
But yeah, next time you come up, we should do that. Yeah, we should do that. Do some GoPro rolling shots of the 700. Yeah, even the Century.
Yeah.
That's drivable at the moment. It's just that stupid window regulators. I'm chasing all sorts of small, unfinished checklist stuff on that car. So
just to be expected.
Yeah. I'll be excited to just enjoy it. Mo, my buddy from Mobile Electronic Solutions, is really adamant and excited to get in there with me and sort out all the electronics in that car.
Right.
Most of the electronics work, but a lot of the entertainment electronics don't. And it could be real simple. It could just be fuses or, stuff that I haven't even, all I know is that the TVs don't turn on by pressing the power button. That's it.
Right.
I've been focused on a lot of other things on that car. So Mo's really excited to get in there and kind of learn about that car and, kind of see what.
Make it work again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got 2 TVs, the VCR, the CD. So it was a cassette deck originally in 91, but it's got an aftermarket CD player that was probably put in the late 90s or something. That works.
Yeah.
Speakers work, all that stuff. So it's got an audio recorder, a cassette deck audio recorder in the armrest of the center console, which is pretty cool. That doesn't necessarily have to work. I want to get I want to get a bunch of the other stuff working. It would be amazing to get the ice maker working.
Yeah.
That runs off the AC system.
Yeah.
And the AC lines go all the way to the back of the car too.
That's crazy. Yeah, just all the little things in that car when you start thinking about them it's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be too upset if we can't get everything working, because it's a 1991 with like as much technology as Japan had in 91 in that car.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. I'd like to get all the electronics working for Ocean City, because it'd be really cool to have like, you know, like during my plan for the podcast of the century is to have all this gear, because all this is battery operated.
Yeah.
So I can have all this gear in the car. Just a matter of getting the mic boom arms mounted somewhere. But it's got the partition window in the middle. So my plan is to have 2 GoPros, have one on the partition window up facing back at us, so you can see myself and a guest talking while we're cruising the strip.
Yep.
Well, you're more than likely driving.
Yeah. Oh, I'm driving.
And then one on the back window facing forward, so you can see what we see.
Right.
Type deal, which is the TVs and all that stuff. And so it'd be really cool to have like the VCR working and have like a VHS tape in there, like a BMX video or like an old car video, like Initial D video or something like that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Just playing on the old TV, and just have like the entertainment system working while we're in the car filming and stuff. So it'd be cool to get that stuff sorted out before Ocean City.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then other than that, it's just small stuff on the 700 and the Corvair. Both those cars just need a ton of like stuff fixed and maintenance, and they're running and driving at the moment. But the big project is my dad and I rolled the cab over out of what was becoming its grave in front of my dad's shop. So it's currently on the pavement.
Oh yeah.
The rear wheels are seized up now. It sat for 5 years, almost 6 years, after my dad and I probably did. I'd say at least 40% of that project is done now.
Right.
40%. That's being modest, I guess. But it sat for like 6 years while I just indulged in my ADD and just bought other projects.
Of course.
And that poor thing just has sat and sat and sat and sat. And we want to get it running. It's a 12 valve P pump Cummins, so it takes minimal wires to get that thing to run.
Right.
So we want to breathe life into it again, just to make sure everything's still sorted out on it. But the rear wheels are seized up now, and that was just such a pain. We brought my dad's tractor down, had to like lift it up and move it, and now getting the wheels off was a task because everything was rusted and seized up.
Oh yeah.
So I got the rear wheels off, and we have one drum freed up. We were able to get an adjuster loosened up and just hammered the daylights out of this drum. Got that turning. One side was too stubborn we couldn't get the adjuster moving, and so I just sprayed fluid film in there to no end to just like soak for like a week. That's a shout out to fluid film too.
I was just about to say product.
Yeah, I don't know if I've mentioned that on the podcast. So yeah, maybe. And if I have, this is another shout out to fluid film. But they randomly reached out to me on Instagram and said, "Hey, we're looking for people to use our product. You interested in using our product?" And I was like, the can in the shop's like basically empty. So huge thanks to fluid film. They sent me a box of all sorts of different, the different size cans of fluid film and t-shirts and stickers. And
heck yeah.
So that was really cool. Just a complete cold call on Instagram.
Yeah.
So huge thanks to fluid film, because, we've always got a can or two. I've usually got a can or two in my laser shop for just any lubrication or leather curing, whatever I might need it for.
Yeah.
And obviously my dad's shop, the actual garage, has always had whether or not it's WD-40 or PB Blast, but there's always been a fluid film can.
Yeah.
One or two in the shop. So, and my dad's been wearing that shirt a ton. I'll be down in the shop and he's like wearing his fluid film shirt. I'm like, that's awesome. Because they sent a large and a medium.
Yeah.
I usually wear a small or a medium in shirts. My dad wears a large.
Yeah.
So I give the large to him, and he's been
that's awesome.
putting it to use in the shop. I need to get more photos of him wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
And myself, for fluid film. For
I'm sure
sending me
they'd
the
love
product.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool. That was really cool of them to, I don't know, see any sort of like content promotion out of me. So that's kind of cool.
Definitely.
Since I'm just some random.
They saw the rusty cars and they're like, yeah, maybe you need some fluid film.
Something. Yeah. I mean, I'm just some kid from a small town in New Hampshire in the woods. So it's cool that they felt that was beneficial to send me some stuff. So yeah. And who knows, maybe if this podcast continues, we'll have some sponsor spotlights soon enough.
Heck yeah. This. Dunkin', what's up?
Dunkin' Donuts. Seriously, man, they still refuse to watch my stories. They obviously have millions of followers.
I know.
I still post them.
Yeah.
Every other day, it seems. Every afternoon, I take a cruise into town and go to Dunkin's, get my iced coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they don't figure out their hot coffee cups and the lid combination here pretty soon, I'm going to have to move on.
Yeah.
But I don't really like Starbucks, and it's too expensive for what it is. And the closest Starbucks was like 40 minutes away from me. So I'm not going to go there for your average morning or afternoon coffee.
Yeah.
It's just too far.
Quick coffee drive.
When we started this podcast, when we attempted to record this podcast last night, it was 9:00 at night, and we had just gone to McDonald's to get coffee. And that is surprisingly like not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Well, you tried the caramel hot coffee.
It wasn't the best caramel, but
no, I'd say as far as the caramel coffees goes, Dunkin's kind of has that.
Oh, absolutely.
Lockdown.
Yeah.
But McDonald's was using like Newman's Own for a while or something, or Green Mountain Coffee.
Yeah,
it was like
something.
a legitimate coffee company that they used for the beans or whatever. And as I was mentioning, in my town, like my dad usually goes up to McDonald's in the morning to get coffee, not food, just coffee. Because a lot of the older retired like hot rod guys and just some of the retired guys in town all congregate there at like 8 a.m. every morning.
Of course.
That's like the watering hole, the town watering hole. So by default, when I started drinking coffee, I'd just meet my dad up there to get a coffee in the morning before I started my day's work, basically. And so I kind of got used to that coffee too. So last night, nowhere else was open for coffee. I felt like getting coffee for the podcast. And so that was a McDonald's plug because we were sipping on McCafe
Yes.
caramel coffees. And man, I'm telling you, I do want to get to the point where I'm drinking coffee black, but
Yeah.
I don't know, caramel coffee.
I don't have any aspirations to drink black coffee. Unless it's that Stoke cold brew.
How good is that?
It's so good, man.
Mason put me onto that.
Yeah.
Mason Gavin put me onto that because we all rented a house for Simply Clean in Daytona last fall, and he had that. And he was pouring one morning. Everyone was getting up, getting ready to go, and basically to go get coffee. And he was pouring a glass of cold brew. And I was like, oh man, that's black, huh? Because dude, it's not too bitter. You should try it. And I was like, I don't know. So it's the black, not too sweet.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. And man, I took a sip of that and I was like, hooked. And they make the chocolate one too.
Yeah, I'm hooked on the chocolate one. That's the one I go for. Yeah.
Man, I switch it up. I'll drink a jug of the chocolate one. Once that's depleted, I'll go to the black, the not too sweet black one.
Yeah.
Because that's really good too. That's not bitter at all.
Yeah.
But it's not super sugary either.
Right.
It's like a good combination. Yeah, that stuff's so good. I've spent a lot of money on that stuff. So shout out to Stoke.
Yeah.
Let's get a Stoke sponsorship going. That I would not be mad at that.
This has turned into a coffee review podcast.
Yeah, we should do one because we didn't put out any Instagram questions or anything like that for this one. We just kind of figured we'd shoot from the hip and just talk about what's been going on lately, especially with BMX. Yeah. I mean, I am going to be pushing the TGC BMX crew hard. Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm pretty psyched on it too.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude. We're going to make stickers. It's going to be, and I'm going to integrate it around future car shows. Like every car show we go to or that I go to, I'm going to have my bike.
Yeah, bring your bikes.
And it's going to be, like
bring a skateboard.
It's going to be for like the early risers, like the morning before the show. We're all going to go for a ride.
For sure.
Go to the local skate park, wherever it might be. Yeah. Because every year at Wolfscart in Burlington, Vermont, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, Anthony just had to give out the word that it's canceled this year.
Yeah,
just too close to the chest.
Yeah.
Too close to the chest this year because it's a July show and we're still in the process of like opening stuff up. And then with like all the protesting going on right now and like people are fearing that there might be a resurgence of cases because there's a lot of people in close quarters. Who knows?
Can only imagine.
But Anthony pulled the plug out of safety, so can't fault him for that.
Nope.
But every year Wolfscart, I mean, I've been going all 10 years now. The Burlington, Vermont skate park is unbelievable.
Yep.
That place is just so good. So I always bring my bike. It's like a 2.5 hour drive from here. I always go up for the Thursday through Sunday night. And every morning, without fail. I mean, you met me up there.
Yeah, I learned some tricks there last year.
Yep. I'll get up at like 6 a.m. I don't care that it's my holiday weekend. I'll get up at 6 a.m., get a coffee, get down to the park for 7. And even at 7, there might be like a couple skaters in there.
Yeah.
But it's not packed.
No, it's not.
Like mom and dad don't have like their kids on scooters in there yet. So, but places like that, that's going to be a perfect, because a ton of people go to Wolfscart. So to do like a TGC BMX meet at the skate park, like Friday morning or Saturday morning or Sunday morning or all of the above.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited because I'm doing that stuff anyway. I'm back psyched on BMX, and you best believe I'm going to try to get all my friends involved.
Yeah, definitely.
And make cool merchandise and stickers. And I mean, dude, I might even go as far as, and I'm shooting from the hip here. I haven't even thought about this before this moment, but I might even go as far as like design some like 2-dimensional like sprockets and get some like TGC BMX sprockets made or something.
Heck yeah, man.
Some like stuff that's like within my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
That could be doable. And yeah, man, because I'm not trying to make frames or anything, but it'd be really cool to like make TGC BMX like products for a bike. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. I'm excited about that.
Yep.
That's basically all I had to say.
Yeah.
And music. Yeah. So I've been talking to you about that. I'm finally getting motivated on posting some of my older albums on Spotify and iTunes.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's huge for me because that stuff's been laying dormant on my iTunes and CDs. I mean, there are kids out there in the New England music scene that have actual CDs that we used to sell or hand out at shows of my solo project and the band that was a solo project that became a full band called How Near, How Far. But I put the word out on Facebook and Instagram asking friends who are still in the music industry, like what hosting sites they were using to host their albums on, to stream on Spotify and iTunes and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of you guys came back through. It was basically down to TuneCore, which I'd read up about, or DistroKid.
Right.
There were some others in there too, but TuneCore and DistroKid were the two main ones. I'm going with DistroKid. I just like the layout. You basically give them an annual fee for whatever tier program you want, and then you receive 100% of any earnings that come in through ad or through downloads or whatever.
Gotcha.
So this upcoming week, I got to work on some like album artwork just to have something, even though they're like, these albums are like 10 to 12 years old now.
Yeah.
I just want to get something up so there's some sort of visual, obviously. But I'm going to be putting up my How Near, How Far albums.
Yeah.
The How Near, How Far album So Far, which was the first acoustic album I did with How Near, How Far, which was just me, in 2008. And then in 2009, I recorded like a 9 or 10 song album called Like Tragic Movies. And so those have just been sitting around, and there's been, I didn't even put them on a SoundCloud. Yeah. The only stuff I have on SoundCloud is my most recent music project, which is called The Rising Sea, which you obviously know.
Yeah.
And so I've got an Instagram for The Rising Sea and just some unfinished demos that I decided not to bin that are on my SoundCloud. So what I want to do is to start, since I don't have any new material for The Rising Sea that I feel is good enough to put on Spotify and iTunes, I'm going to post the How Near, How Far albums first. It's like legacy uploads.
Yeah, definitely.
And get those up. And I did make a post on, like I said, on Instagram and Facebook about it. And had a lot of people that commented that were saying, I don't have any advice about the hosting nonsense, but I'm just stoked that you're going to be posting this stuff online that we can listen to. So that really meant a lot to me, that people, because basically 2004 to 2009 were the years I played music pretty steadily,
right?
Played out and played shows and stuff. So it's been 11 years. It's been 11 years since I've even played a show to any kids, basically. And so it's really cool that people remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that music and stuff. And
yeah.
We even had a few mutual friends of ours like post screenshots of like their iTunes because they'd bought the CD and put it on their iTunes on their computer, and like, yeah, it still comes up on shuffle every now and then, which is just so crazy.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
So crazy. So that's on the list right now too for things to get done, is to get the old albums up, work on new stuff, spend some time in my studio writing, and get some new Rising Sea stuff up. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's more. The hobby stuff doesn't have like a lot of like revenue involved in it, but it requires a lot of time to do that stuff. So I've been trying to justify, since work's been slow, I've been justifying like trying to spend a lot of time on those things.
Right. Even
though in the future they can all be under the same umbrella as like the podcast, the Governor's Club, the YouTube.
Yeah.
Just kind of put it all under there. Because I'd like to write all the music for all the YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
So far, all the music you hear in all of the YouTube videos are me in the Rising Sea. But because of that, it's very limited. I'm not cranking out a lot of new music just for YouTube stuff. So
yeah,
that's not to say I won't use other music at some point in the future, but yeah, I'd love to be completely self-sufficient or self-contained, you know, and everything is organic from me, like the YouTube, not just the visual content, but like the audio and all that stuff too.
Right.
The
Absolutely.
music, score, soundtrack, whatever. So, yeah. But what about you? What else is? I mean, I know like we've been riding BMX. That's been like the main thing.
Like you said, I got the itch, and
which is awesome because you're basically learning something new every time we ride.
Absolutely, yeah. I love it. It's great,
and it's so cool because even though this is what I was trying to tell some kids when we were riding the other day is, even though what you're learning right now are like basically basic maneuvers, they motivate me.
Yeah,
it's the I don't want to say learning, but it's that uncovering or discovering of tricks, and that's uniform across the board.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
If you've never done a double peg grind on a rail before, even if it's just a flat rail, and you're nervous about it, you're taking runs, you haven't hopped on you're like, I don't know. And someone like me who can do that double peg grind, but I'm watching you stress about it and you're making runs and you're like, oh man, I don't know. And I'm like, just hop on it. Like literally, I know what you're going through. I've done it. Like I know. And so in a way that's almost coaching you into it. And you're like, all right, yeah, no, I got this. And I'm like, just lean over. Don't worry about your peg slipping off and then you finally do it. That victory serves as motivation to me to do like whatever I might be trying to do, even if it's something I've never pulled before. So that's what I like about, in my opinion, it's all uniform.
Yeah.
Whereas some kids, like when they go pro or something, they don't want to ride with kids that like aren't pro level.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of silly, but that's the way it is. I mean,
that's the way it is with any sport.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I was a pro rider for a long time, but I still loved coming home and riding with friends in my area that like were just learning basics.
Yeah.
I loved that because that meant I didn't have to like feel like I needed to push my envelope.
Right.
We could just go ride curbs and just ride basics and stuff and not have to push it. So, because being on the road with like one of your teams to like film, even though there wasn't a lot of deliberate pressure put on us, there was pressure because we were out there to film. And if we're representing this company as like the paid pro riders, we have to step up and like film tricks that are almost boundary pushing for the sport.
Absolutely.
Because we're the pro riders.
Yeah. It's like an unspoken pressure to keep up. Yeah.
And although I handled that pressure well, I didn't necessarily like that pressure because, the team books tickets and you fly to LA and they pick you up in the rented van and you go to the first spot and you twist your ankle on something stupid, but now you've got 10 more days on this trip to film for like the DVD.
Right.
And you're like, I can't piss and moan about this twisted ankle. I got to wrap it up. I got to ice it, take some ibuprofen. And every day I got to step up. And then day 3, you sprain your wrist or something. And you're like, no, I got to still.
Crazy. Yeah.
I mean, in 2005, I went to California. Well, I'd been to California already in 2003, but it was the first trip I took to LA. It's the first time to Los Angeles. And I was riding for a clothing company at the time. It was before I was technically pro. I was riding for a small clothing company out of Massachusetts. And we had a couple California riders and we flew out there to film for the DVD. It was going to be an actual team BMX DVD.
Yeah.
And I filmed a good part of my whole section the first day we were there because it was like sensory overload.
Yeah.
We rode all the schools that you saw in the skate videos.
Yeah,
like
heck yeah.
The schoolyards that are basically skate parks with asphalt banks up the fences and all the fiberglass picnic tables that you can set up into like whatever configuration you want. And they're super low to the ground,
Yeah.
And you can grind them, you can manual them, you can do all sorts of stuff. And so a full day of all that stuff, it was like one of the best days I've ever had filming. And that night, filming a feeble grind to hop up no-footed nose wheelie, which I pulled and was super bummed about the angle. And they weren't. The guys who filmed it were like, that looks good. And I was like, let's film it from a different angle.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. And I was like, I'll just do 5 more tries. If I don't get it in 5 more tries, we're out. We'll go to the next spot.
Yeah.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th try, fell over the bars, missed my hands, landed on my face, blasted my teeth out, my front teeth. Like, I won't go through the painstaking details, but one broke off. And the root was still good, but there was like nerve endings sticking out, which was just inexplicable pain.
Yeah.
And my number 10 tooth next to my front tooth broke up in the gum up in my skull and like laid back into my mouth, but was like broken up in my gum. So it didn't come out and you couldn't pull it out either. It's not like it was like wiggling. It was like, oh, let's just pull this thing out. And it split my lip wide open. I was bleeding from my nose. Luckily, I didn't break my nose, but gut like served hard.
Yeah.
First day in California, 12-day trip, 10 or 12-day trip. I don't remember. And to film for a team DVD. And this was before I went pro. And I wasn't like striving to be pro. So it wasn't like I was like trying to climb this ladder to like get to this goal. I just put the same amount of dedication and effort into riding as I did at any time because I was obsessed with the sport.
Right.
So, yeah. So I ate through a straw the rest of the trip because the front of my mouth was useless. The front of my mouth, like all my 2 teeth technically, but the whole mouth just felt destroyed.
Of course. Yeah. You can only imagine.
So I ate smoothies, slurped smoothies the rest of this trip. By the end of the trip, I remember eating chicken nuggets. We'd get like chicken nuggets at like Wendy's or something. And I'd like pick little pieces off of the chicken nuggets and stick it because it was my number 10 tooth. So I guess I can't really describe if I'm feeling my mouth, it's the tooth to the left of my front tooth,
right?
To the right of my front tooth if you're looking at me. So I would stuff these like little pieces of like chicken nuggets down the right side on the opposite side to get to the back of my molar, and I'd slowly just like up and down to stay away from my front teeth.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was eating solids at that. You know what I mean? Like by the end of the trip, that's what I had evolved to, was eating like little broken up pieces of chicken nuggets. And the kicker was I flew home Christmas Eve from this trip. Mouth still all busted up. I just been taking ibuprofen, to subside the pain.
Barely subsided, I'm sure.
These nerve endings that were sticking out of my front tooth that was broken. If I were to, and those of you who have dealt with something like this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But to best describe it to anyone who hasn't done this, it would be the equivalent or close to the equivalent of sticking your front teeth in solid ice cream, like a scoop of ice cream, and just leaving them there.
Yeah.
And that like immense cranial, high frequency, sharp pain is what it felt like to breathe or speak.
Yeah.
Like the air coming in and out of my mouth, passing those nerve endings was like a knife to the front of my brain. It was rough. So I'm sure to some people's delight, I didn't talk much on that trip. I didn't talk much. I barely breathed. I did the bare minimum of breathing because it hurt so bad.
Man.
And it's funny because when I think back, I'm like, that happened, but I have a hard time like processing, like, wow, like I actually like not only like just hung out in California for a week after an injury like that, but like
you continued to ride your bike.
But produced. Yeah. I filmed my whole part basically for it was peg leg clothing is what it was called. And what's a serious bummer was I butted heads with the kid who was running that whole deal before the DVD came out and left the team and never had a part in that DVD.
Oh, no way.
I don't think I've ever told you that.
No, I didn't know that. Jeez.
Yeah. So all that footage is just like on his hard drive somewhere.
Damn.
Yep. I've never even seen any of that footage. Some of the clips made it on some of the peg leg like web edits, but they were streamed on his website. They weren't on YouTube. So they were like embedded on the website. And then when he redid the website long after I had quit, because we had butted heads and it wasn't worth it to me to like be on the team at that point. None of those videos were re-uploaded because they were like edits of me. So then I was no longer a team rider.
Yeah.
So those videos aren't even on YouTube for me to like revisit. So it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Because that was like my first trip to California. All those clips are with a busted up mouth that we filmed after that clip. And so that was a big bummer. But yeah, so those injuries were definitely pretty tough. Because when I flew home Christmas Eve, my dentist, my local dentist, was on holiday until like January 5th. So there was like 2 more weeks left of like my mouth just busted up.
That's insane.
It was the worst.
No.
It was the worst. And then I dealt with issues with like those surgeries. Like they did a post-in-core surgery where they cut my number 10 tooth out, but they left the root because there wasn't anything wrong with the root. And then they basically screwed it back into my mouth. They used the titanium rod and then they epoxied it to the neighboring teeth. And then I broke that rod in another accident.
Of course.
Like snapped that titanium rod. And I I thought the epoxy had just broke because now it would wiggle front to back and side to side. But I felt like the rod was probably still holding it in my mouth.
Yeah.
And I lived like that for like 4 years with that tooth loose.
Wow.
Because it happened a few years after the surgery, so I just assumed it wasn't covered anymore. Like, oh, we'll fix that.
Yeah.
You know? And I didn't have dental insurance. So I was like, I'll just you know, live this way, I guess. I was just careful about what I bit into. I just learned how to bite on, you know, on the other side of my mouth. So I can't remember what year it was, but I ended up, luckily it was on the job, working for one of my past employers. And I was working on his personal snowmobile. You know, that's not what I did for work. Yeah. I was an herbicide and pesticide applicator. Yeah. But I was working on a snowmobile, and the ratchet like slipped out of my hand, and it was on a lift. We had a forklift in the shop, and it was like up on the lift, and I forgot what I was doing. I was like putting a track back on it or something, and I was like tightening something up, and the ratchet slipped and hit me in the mouth and hit me right in that tooth. Yeah. And that's when I was like, well, workman's comp, I'm going to go get this whole thing fixed now. Yeah. They did an x-ray. When they brought the x-ray back, I could see that titanium post in my mouth in the x-ray, and it was snapped. Like inside my skull, and the thing was like snapped. Like, whoa, that rod snapped. And I was like, how'd that happen? And I was candid with him. I said, listen, because he's been my dentist since I was a kid. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if this should be like relevant information or not, but I'm pretty sure I broke that like a few years ago, and I've been living with that tooth like pretty loose for the last couple of years. And he didn't even look up as he's writing on his notepad, and he's like, sounds like it all happened at work. And I was like, yeah, yep, good sounds man. Like it. Yeah. 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 So he was nice enough to let that one go. But now we're fixed up. Now it's not even my real tooth anymore, because now that rod had snapped, they had to pull the number 10 tooth, pull the rod, pull the extra broken piece of rod, and do a root canal. Then they did a bone graft, and then they did and it just was like months of healing before the next operation, then another month of healing, then another operation. Jeez. And and so now I've got a crown. I've got a bone graft with a crown that's like screwed into the base of the bone graft, or I can't remember. Yeah, makes sense. Stuff. Yeah. But when they first did the root canal, it had to heal for a few months first. And so here we are. And they just crowned or capped. I don't know what the proper terminology is. Basically, my number 10 tooth is fake now. I know that's like super layman's terms. After they first did the root canal, I had to wear a flipper, like a denture, a full upper denture that covered the entire upper like roof of my mouth. And rather than a full line of denture teeth, it just had that one number 10 tooth on it. And it had the hooks in the back. I had to use Fixodent every morning. Jeez. Every night I had to pull that thing out and then wash it. And then like rinse my mouth out because it was Fixodent crap up in there. And then go to bed. And then in the morning, and I had to put it in I didn't have to. But basically, you see the commercials, like the old timers, the Alka-Seltzer commercials. They drop their denture in the Alka-Seltzer in the water. Yeah. That's basically what I had to do for like almost a full year. Dang. And then every morning, put it back in my mouth, put the Fixodent on it. And because without the Fixodent, I could even be talking. And if my tongue hit the roof of my mouth just right while pronouncing a word and it created a vacuum, it would just pop that whole denture right out of my mouth. And sometimes it would fly right out of my mouth while I was talking. I'd catch it. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I'm like that grandfather who like scares his grandkids because as he talks, he with his tongue pops his dentures out and the kids yell and scream and run off. I'm that guy at 28 years old.
Of course. Yeah. That's great.
So I lived that life for like a year. Yeah. And now I've got like a more permanent fix in my mouth. Yep. And he told me that the bond holding that whole tooth into my mouth was like, he's like, oh, they're usually good for about a year. You have to come in and get it like fixed. Wow. That was 6 years ago. So I chalk up the fact that better now. Well, I chalk up the fact that is still in there and still solid to the fact that I lived for like 4 years with that tooth loose and learned it literally became second nature to bite into an apple on the other side of my teeth. Oh yeah. Or as I just chewed, I stayed away from that mouth or I stayed away from that tooth. And so now that it's technically fixed and I could probably bite into stuff on that side, I had trained myself to where it was second nature to just eat on the other side of my mouth. That tooth is just lasting longer, you know? Yeah. He gave me like a year expectancy till I might have to come in and like get it refixed or re-epoxied. Huh. And it's been like, 6 years now. It was like 2014, I think, when we did that. Yeah. 13 even. Yeah, so not bad. No, it was 2015. It's been almost 6 years now. Yeah. Once we get through 2020, it'll be 6 years. Because I went to England. My first trip to England was in 2015, and I had that flipper. Oh, yeah. 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 because I remember like having to deal with that whole thing, wondering if the metal in that thing was going to set off the metal detectors.
Oh yeah.
It didn't. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, some of those injuries were tough.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with anything like that again.
No.
That's why back in the mid to late 2000s, if you were riding BMX and there was someone at a skate park wearing a mouth guard, they've already lost their teeth.
Right.
Most of them. Now you see kids wearing mouth guards just because of us, all of us other guys who paved the way, breaking our teeth, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to break my teeth, so I wear a mouth guard," as a proactive measure, not a reactive measure.
Yeah.
Like we all did. Or full face helmets. Most kids wearing full faces. Like, oh, that dude's like busted his face up real bad.
That's true.
Mostly vert and park riders wore full faces, but it is pretty good. See, we used to shun street riders that wore helmets riding street. You know, if you're doing a handrail on the street wearing a helmet, riding street was all about the image.
Yeah.
That sounds vain, but it was just the way the sport was. Like, it was just about, it didn't look like riding street with a helmet looked too much like a skate park clip.
Right.
So kids like not that you couldn't wear like knee or shin or ankle pads underneath your pants, you know, so they were kind of hidden.
Yeah.
Which is nice anyway, because they're like slim fit like pads now. But there's more and more kids wearing helmets on street now, which is good because of the awareness of like CTE and the serious repercussions of concussions and stuff, which I've suffered. I've had the KO button hit on me a couple times where I've literally been unconscious.
Yeah.
So I've had my clock cleaned a few times. So it's nice to see younger kids wearing helmets. I mean, even when we're at Londonderry skate park, I'm not wearing mine. I should bring it down more often, just because I don't want to risk another head clunker.
Yeah.
And you get bit. You never see it coming. You go over backwards real fast, and it's done.
Right. Yeah.
It's done. So
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, other than that, been feeling pretty good on the bike.
Yep.
Excited to do more of it this year.
Heck yeah.
We'll be bringing the bikes to Ocean City.
Yep. Definitely.
The skate park at Ocean City is technically no bikes, but we go in like real early.
Yeah, we didn't do that last year, but we should definitely do that this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
TGC BMX meet.
Yep. So we're gonna do the TGC meets as always.
Yep.
It went from one. I've been holding a TGC meet in Ocean City the weekend of what used to be H2O since 2012, and so this is gonna be like the 8th year doing it, and it's evolved from like one meet into a morning cars and coffee meet, usually at the Fractured Prune, on like Saturday morning or Sunday morning. We did it Sunday last year, and a Sunday evening meet. Now I know a lot of people end up going home, but they end up leaving like Sunday morning because they have to be back for work on Monday morning. But I've started doing the meet Sunday evening because a lot of the riffraff is out of the city, and we still have 400 to 500 cars. 4 to 500, not 4,500. We have a few hundred cars that usually show up even on a Sunday evening. So, and it's always low key. It's always in the same lot. And I always encourage like the sheriffs or local police to like roll through, and sometimes they'll hang out in the back part of the parking lot.
Of course.
I like them being there because it discourages any outliers that come in from doing like burnouts and stuff. Everyone that comes there for the meet knows what we're about, knows we're not about the riffraff.
Absolutely.
We're not about the littering and the burnouts and, being unsafe around crowds of people and stuff like that. So, yeah, so it's turned into a morning cars and coffee, which we might do Saturday morning this upcoming year. And then the Sunday evening TGC meet. But we're also going to integrate, TGC BMX meet this year.
Heck yeah.
For sure. And that'll be Saturday at some point. Maybe Saturday morning, we'll do the cars and coffee meet Sunday morning. Maybe Saturday morning, we'll do like an assemble and ride. Even if we just ride the boardwalk or go to the skate park or something. So that'll be pretty fun. Yeah. More news on that soon.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then possibly on the Chattanooga. We'll see how that plan comes together. I just want to hit the road, man.
I know it. I feel it.
Man, today's Sunday. I was supposed to be Kyron was supposed to fly in this upcoming Tuesday. And we were planning on hitting the road Wednesday.
Jeez.
Being on the road for 3 weeks. Yeah, it's probably better off right now. Just chill.
Yeah, it's a weird time, man. All in all, it's a weird time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be on the road again soon.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for that. Well, we didn't go to Instagram about anything, but we're almost an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
This could be a shorty.
Yeah. That was
to be honest, for the hosting, for the hosting plan that I have.
Yeah.
These 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 45-minute podcasts, I quickly realized like, oh yeah, I don't pay for this much. So I've been like adding on to my plan like every month.
Yeah.
Even though I'm trying to do I'm doing my best to do like one episode a week. We missed last week, but I did get a few YouTube episodes up.
Right.
For those of you guys listening on iTunes and Spotify, I do have Corey and I put up a BMX YouTube episode. If you just go to youtube.com/John Ludwick, we got some BMX stuff up there. More BMX content coming soon. We filmed some stuff this weekend I'm going to put together for a short, hopefully YouTube, maybe just Instagram. Going to get some BMX stuff coming up. And a shout out to my friend Ashley Lucier from Ameriswiss Powder Coating. She owns a powder coating business right up in Meredith, New Hampshire, where I am. And they currently have my BMW 700 wheels.
Yes. Heck
Yes. Yeah. I am so excited.
Seeing the photos.
So the BMW 700 body is super, super narrow. It's on a beetle pan, as I've said plenty of times. I've got a narrowed front beam, but we didn't tub the rear. So the rear track width is way too wide for how narrow the body is. So my dad and I cut some steel wheels apart, moved the centers way out. Did I tell you this, that I figured out the offsets to those wheels?
You did, yeah.
I don't know if I told you or maybe you saw the story.
I saw the story, I think, yeah.
So now that I dismounted tires, so long story short, we cut the centers out of these steel wheels and moved them out to make them a higher offset wheel. We weren't going for a certain offset. We basically moved the barrel and lip, like the rim of the wheel, in far enough to where it would tuck under the 700 when it aired down. And basically made them like a zero lip steel wheel. So we moved this, we used this brake lathe to cut the centers out. We moved the faces out, re-welded them up. We tack welded them first, used this wheel balancer as a truing stand, and just kind of like visually trued them with a hop and sway and got everything dialed in until it spun even without vibration or anything like that.
Right.
Then finish welded them up. And so I ran those for a while last year, but I really wanted to build a set of 3-piece split wheels for that car. Once I got my hands on a few different sets of 15-inch split wheels, I realized I even machined some, because I knew they were going to have to be face mounted.
Right.
To be a crazy zero lip setup. I even made face spacers for those like OZ MSWs I had.
That's right.
I machined a face spacer so the face even mounted farther away from the lip, and still couldn't get the offsets right. And there just wasn't enough space. There's too much material on the face of the wheel and not enough material to machine off the back face in order to get them to work.
Yeah.
So here we are. I'm like, the steel wheels work. We got them to work. Essentially, they're 15x4 plus 65 and 15x5.5 in the rear. No, I'm sorry. 15x4 up front plus 67 offset. And the rears are 15x5.5 plus ET65. Pretty wild.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's crazy.
So the 15x4 has a 4 5/8 inch back spacing, which is it's beyond zero lip.
It's beyond.
The mounting.
It's beyond the size of the wheel.
Yeah, where it mounts, like the actually mounting surface where it mounts to the drum is farther out than the lip of the wheel.
It's crazy.
Not just the face, like the actual back of the face.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So once I knew those specs, I was like, well, I'm going to give up on the 3-piece wheel thing for a little bit because it's going to have to be much more custom of a wheel than what I was hoping.
Right.
So I was like, well, maybe I'll get the wheels chromed. And then I thought about chroming, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to spend that kind of money. So Ben Walker, a buddy from England, just had his SSR Mark I wheels that he has on his early model Corvair.
Yep.
Had those powder coated chrome. And so I asked him, I said, I've been thinking about that. Like, how are you happy with the outcome? He goes, yeah, man, they look awesome. And he sent me some photos. And I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because his Corvair is kind of patinaed too. And my 700 is just a toilet. So any sort of shininess, it doesn't have to be chrome plated.
Yeah.
Any sort of shininess will look great on this car.
Exactly.
So I talked to Ashley about it. And I said, hey, have you been doing any like chrome powder coating? She goes, yeah, actually. And we just started using a super chrome with a clear over it that looks amazing. So I was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I dismounted the tires and got her the wheels. She chem stripped them, sandblasted them. And on my way down here Friday, which you've seen already, she texted me photos of them. I swung by on my way out of town because she had them baking. So when I swung through on my way out of town Friday, they were still in the oven, but I was able to see them in the oven. I was like, ooh, those look amazing. So by the time I got down here on Friday, they had come out of the oven and they were just like cooling down basically. And she sent me some photos of them, and they look chrome plated.
They do. They look killer.
They look unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I'm picking them up tomorrow, and I'm going to get the tires back on them. And I made these like custom hubcaps, like these laser engraved custom hubcaps.
Right.
They only cover the lug bolts basically. So it's not like a wheel cover. It's actually just a hubcap. And these wheels are going to look so good that I don't even know if I want to put a hubcap back on them and cover up this chrome goodness.
Right.
So I'm excited so anyway, I'm going to post tomorrow when I pick the wheels up. I'm going to post like a series because I've got a lot of the process or the photos throughout the progress or the process of powder coating them. So I'm hoping to help drive her some business because she's new at it. She's super busy. I mean, we've needed a powder coat business up in my area in the Lakes region of New Hampshire desperately because like nobody in that area does powder coating. So she does sandblasting, powder coating, and all that. So I'm excited to get those wheels on. So big plug to Ameriswiss Powder Coating. She actually just started an Instagram too because I was telling her, I was like, if you want me to help promote the business, you got to start an Instagram.
Yeah,
she just had a Facebook page.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm not too good at that. And I was like, well, just get an Instagram started and I'll tag you guys. So I think it's Ameriswiss Powder Coat.
Yeah.
Is the handle. But I'll tag them tomorrow. I'm going to start going through like all the process of like what they looked like before when they were painted and then stripped and now chromed and then tires on them and on the car. Then I'm excited to get lined up with just one of our friends that just shoots photos like better than me, a photographer, and actually shoot the car on the wheels chromed basically.
Heck yeah.
I'm excited. Since I kind of ran into a roadblock with building custom split wheels for that car, that's why I figured this is the next best thing because those wheels are already built to fit under the car. Might as well make them look different. So so that's coming up this week.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And I got another haircut coming up.
Heck yeah.
Because in these times, that's like news.
I know, it really is.
That's news.
I mean, after super excited. I got one this past week. And I was like, oh, I feel like a brand new man.
Makes you feel like a man in general. Like, oh, I'm not like this weird creature that's been living in a box for the last 3 months.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was a month overdue to get a cut when we left for Chattanooga at the beginning of March.
That's right.
We're down there for 2 weeks, came home to a closed down economy, and it's like, now I'm like 2 months in. So I went like a solid 4 months. I usually get a haircut a week, if not once every other week.
Yeah.
Religiously. I like the experience, but I like being tightened up all the time. And so I went like 4 months. I hadn't gone that long without a haircut since I was in high school.
Jeez.
Which was like 40 years ago. So I got one 2 weeks ago. My buddy Chili at Lucky's Barbershop. Yeah. Actually, I got 2 in 1 week because when they first opened up, my buddy Rick Stevens owns a shop in my town of Meredith. And I went and got the first cut from him.
Yeah.
Didn't go too tight because I was going to Lucky's, my buddy Josh's shop, later that week just to sit in a chair.
Yeah.
Like 4 days later, I was getting another haircut. But I'm going to go see James at Lucky's. James is a good buddy of mine. He's got like a 66 or 67 Cadillac.
Heck yeah.
Sweet thing.
That's awesome.
And he's been like, he bought a house. Him and his fiance or wife bought a house recently. So he's been like busy doing like, house repairs and house, like renovation and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And he's like, because he's got coolant issues in the Cadillac. He's like, I really need to pull the radiator and go through the coolant system. And I'm like, do it and let's cruise.
Yeah.
So I saw him when I was there a couple weeks ago, and he's like, yeah, I got the radiator out. I've had extra time now that we hadn't been working for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him. Hopefully we can cruise again here pretty soon.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I was thinking this the other day. I went and saw my barber in Nashua, Stay True Barbershop, my friend Corey. And he's into cars too. He's got an old I think it's a Ford F100, and then he's got an old 50s Ford shoebox. Cool. With like the Stay True livery.
Oh yeah,
I've
seen that. I've seen you post photos of it out in front of his barbershop.
It's cool how like the barber scene kind of fits in with the automotive scene, and
it's not quite rockabilly.
Yeah,
but it's like because Lucky's like Josh's shop and even James's style is like like traditional America.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Americana. Like traditional like tattoo parlor type stuff.
Yeah.
Those are 2 other hobbies that go hand in hand. Yeah. A lot of people are like, like everyone who skates or rides BMX is into cars. I'm like, and also barbers.
Exactly.
Either they're into bikes or they're into, motorcycles.
Exactly.
Or into cars.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny how those 2 hobbies transcend.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Well, let's call it there, man.
Yeah, man. Sounds good to me.
Hour and a half solid. Any other plugs or shout outs?
No.
Coffee.
No. Coffee.
Shout out to coffee.
Yeah.
And Sprite ginger.
Heck yeah.
Now you're sipping on a Canada Dry.
Yeah, I got a straight up ginger ale, but Sprite ginger is pretty good.
I got one in front of me for those of you listening. That's why I was mentioning this. I just tried it for the first time down here because I don't drink like any soda. I mean, root beer.
Yeah.
Every now and then, I haven't been drinking too much root beer. But when I do drink soda, it's usually only root beer. But that Sprite ginger is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'll only drink root beer, other than like ginger ale.
Ginger ale isn't that bad
and
for you.
I
either.
figured I'd try the Sprite ginger, and it is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I won't go to like a Coke or a Pepsi or anything like that. But
What about Moxie?
hell friggin' no.
Dude, it's so crazy because you
Jeez.
either love it or you hate it.
I know. No.
Kevin Furness, I don't know if I told you this or not, but Kevin Furness came out here with my buddy Tony, our buddy Tony, back, oh man, I don't remember how many years ago. It was probably 2011 maybe. He came out here to finish up some work on my sleeve
Yeah.
because he's a tattoo artist, obviously. And he had a really good mobile setup, real legit, real sterile. He had like pressurized like sterilization
Yeah, that's
units
pretty
and
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So he came out here back when he was still living in upstate New York before he went to Vegas and finished up my sleeve and worked on a couple of my other friends. Like he basically cleaned up my sleeve for basically nothing, which is amazing. But I had a lot of friends that wanted some work done, so he made money coming out here.
Right. Tattoo party.
And he had never tried Moxie before. And Moxie's like a Maine soda. It's like a New England soda,
New
but it like
England.
came out of
Yeah.
Maine years and years ago. I mean, it's like up there with Dr. Pepper for like one of the first sodas, basically.
Right.
Like 1800s. And it's bad, man. Like, I don't like it at all. I'll sip on one every like 3 years just to be like, how bad is this? And do I like it now? And I'll sip and I'm like, nope, I don't like it. But I'm not going to do this for another 3 years, so I'll finish this can. I'll finish it.
Yeah.
And Dr. Pepper
Dang.
is kind of the same way, but it's like once a year. Maybe not even that. But I'll sip on a Dr. Pepper like once a year, if not once every other year. And I'm like, I don't really like it, but I like it more than the last time I had it. So I'll finish this can.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went to like, the local grocery store in my town, and they had those fridge packs of Moxies. And I was like, let's just get that. We won't get a 2 liter. We'll just get the individual can. Everyone can have their own individual can. And it was like Mike, Tony, I forgot who else. And and like Kevin's like an eccentric type anyway. Kevin's like just super hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was expecting all of their faces to turn inside out when I tried it because it's basically medicine. It
It's
tastes like
pretty
just
gross.
carbonated medicine. Like more so because some people say, well, root beer tastes like licorice medicine. I'm like, no, Moxie tastes like medicine.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Yeah.
And so Kevin sips on it. Doesn't really say anything. Takes another sip. Takes a good gulp. Like good gulp. And he goes, dude, this is amazing. I'm like, you're the first person in the history of ever.
Something's wrong with you, boy.
I was like, man, but it didn't surprise me. I'm like, you know something?
Yeah.
I actually expected that. I could see you liking Moxie. And like Tony sipped it and he's like, this is garbage. I'm like, yeah. He goes, how has this been around this long?
Yeah.
He's like, I could see it lasting the first 20 years during the Civil War. It's like, oh, is this or like dysentery? Like
Yeah.
garbage water.
Yeah.
It's like, in like the biblical days or just like, 1,000 years ago, they were drinking wine,
Right.
fermented beverage instead of water because water gave you parasites and people were crapping in the river upstream or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they drank wine. And so that's basically what Tony's take on Moxie was. It's like it was either Moxie or cholera or whatever was going around then.
Yep.
But Kevin loved it, so Kevin took the fridge back home with him. They're probably all
Hey.
depleted by the time he got back to New York.
More power to him.
But anyway, yeah. So that being said, next episode we're gonna sip on a Moxie.
Okay.
We'll do that. We'll have 2 cans out. We'll sip on a Moxie. We'll review Moxie at the beginning. This is not a paid ad by Moxie
No.
because we may very well say this is the most garbage beverage we've ever had. It's going to be an unbiased review.
Yeah. We'll see if we make it through the whole podcast after that.
Yeah, it's been since then that I've had a Moxie. So
Yeah.
it's been 8 or 9 years since I've had a Moxie.
Yeah, I haven't tried it, and I just remember the last time I tried it, I smelt it, and I'm like, yeah, no, you
It's
can't.
pretty rugged.
Yep.
Yeah. But you know what I did? My dad loves Moxie, and it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah,
Like
old school.
old soul,
Yeah.
born in 55, grew up, as a kid in the late 50s, early 60s, would go to the general store on his bicycle in my little hometown in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And flick a nickel or a dime or whatever up onto the counter and take the glass Moxie, the glass bottle Moxie out.
Yeah, I was gonna say either the glass bottle or the like pop top can. You like pull the top off, and
So I found they're not open anymore, unfortunately. But there was like a gourmet pizza shop in Meredith called Plum Crazy Pizza for a while, and he had I don't know who his beverage supplier was, but he had a bunch of glass bottle sodas, like Barks in the glass bottle.
Yeah.
The Mexican Coca-Colas with the real sugar in the
That's
glass
right.
bottles. The Mountain Dew in the glass bottles. And Moxie in a glass bottle.
Dang.
So every time I'd go to Plum Crazy for lunch, which wasn't that often, I'd always buy a glass bottle Moxie and just bring it home for my dad. Because it was like better than the can, better than the plastic bottle.
Yeah.
But it was the glass bottle Moxie. So
That's pretty cool.
that's what we'll try to do. We'll try to find a glass bottle Moxie. Not
heck
maybe
yeah.
not a can. We'll sip it traditionally out of a glass bottle. And we'll review it. We'll do a quick review of Moxie. Tell you how bad it is. How no one should ever drink Moxie. Or how good it is. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe
It's been a long time.
in our old age.
Maybe we'll get crazy and have a Moxie and a Dr. Pepper down here.
Jeez.
Do you like Dr. Pepper?
I can't really do Dr. Pepper either.
I can't either, but I can do
too
it.
Much.
I can do Dr. Pepper before I can do Moxie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I could probably get through a whole Dr. Pepper. I don't know if I could get through a Moxie.
We're going to get through a whole Moxie.
All right, we'll give it a whirl.
We're going to do it because the podcast will get real interesting.
Yeah.
Because as we're sipping on it, we're like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Why are we doing
Cool.
this? This is awful. Well, until then,
Yeah. Guess we'll see you guys on that one.
hopefully next week, coming at you with a Moxie.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, of course.
And hope you're well. Hope you guys are. If you're out in the streets, stay safe.
Yep. Stay safe for sure.
And speak your mind. That's what America is. We've got our First Amendment. So get out there and march or speak for what's right. Just do it safely. Look after each other.
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Look after each other,
general.
and especially people out there that are business owners. And lead with grace and live with love. Because there does need to be a change. But yeah, just be a good example and love thy neighbor. Lead with love. I think that's pretty important. So
That's it.
And as you guys know, everyone listening, I love you. There's no bias outlook on things. Like I love, if you guys know me, we were talking about this earlier today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know how hard it is to be at a car show with me or anywhere where there's an assembly of people, because we're like, let's go over there. We're going to go walk
We're
that
going to go
part.
get some food.
Okay.
We're
So that's
hungry.
that's when people get really upset at me. We'll be in a crew of like 5 people. We're hungry. Let's go get food. All right. We're going to go get food. We make it 5 feet. I see some people I haven't seen in a while. Hey, what's up? Hey, we're talking. How's everything? Cause I'm interested. Like, how's everything going? Like, how's it been since I've seen you?
And it's genuine.
There might
and
not be people that you even know. So you're like, this is kind of just a stranger. I don't care.
It's fine. Yeah.
And then, all right, well, we got to go. All right, we make it 5 more feet. Hey, what's going on? Hey, let's talk. And then by about the 18th time that's happened, if we've made it 20 feet,
Yeah.
you guys are like, we're done.
We keep moving.
We're going to get food. And now I'm alone. And how many times have I texted you from a car show being like, hey, where you at?
Yeah.
'Cause
A few times.
Yeah. So anyway, to get back to my main point, I love everybody. I love being friends with everybody. I love talking. I love learning about, what you're up to and what's going on and what makes you tick, what makes you stoked.
Me too, man.
Yeah. I know
Me
you're
too.
the same way.
Yeah.
Too. I just get a laugh out of it when, I'm like stuck talking because I'm like, and I'm not just going through the motions of the conversation. I'm like actually interested in like,
You are.
what's going on?
Absolutely.
And
And everybody knows that.
I could tell that the proximity of like my friend group is getting farther and farther away. And I'm like, they hate me right now. I gotta go.
No.
That doesn't mean necessarily you. I just mean like,
I know.
just whoever I might be with at the time.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So back to the point, stay safe guys. And, we'll see you soon, wherever that might be.
Yep. One way or another.
TGC BMX, meetings, hangouts, rides, whatever. TGC meets themselves, car
Heck yeah.
shows,
Yeah.
whatever. So, yeah, that's it for this episode. I don't even know what number this is. 15, 16, I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
But thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. See you later.
Ciao.
Oh, you always said ciao. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao. Anyone who doesn't watch The Office has no idea what just happened. Like,
Yep.
what happened?
All right.
Ciao. Or cookies.
And what does Dwight say? I'm going to go to the zoo with the stick figure.
The stick figure exhibit.